Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Before we get into deck number 358, I just want to take a second to say thank you. Thank you very much. Today I looked down and I realized I had just a shade over 2,000 subscribers. I tweeted it, never would have dreamed that many of y'all would just listen to me ramble, but I do appreciate it. I am super stoked about the goal. I feel like this is what 358. I'm probably nearing the half-ish mark. So, and we're in a time now to where we won't have any new legendaries until January. So, I'll have like enough time here to make some ground up because I figure we're getting 8 to 10 more. Anyway, I'm rambling again. But thank you so much. Thank each and every one of you for watching, for sharing, for liking, all that stuff. It really does matter, and it helps. I don't know, helps keep the spirits up a little bit. Speaking of spirits, I didn't mean to do that. I swear to you, I didn't. Bounteous Kirin, of course, another one of the Kirin cycle. It was a cycle from Saviors of Kamigawa. They were all spirits. And I think the overarching theme is they all sucked. No, it was a Spirit or Arcane thing, so that kind of made it. Now, I didn't want to build another Spirit or Arcane deck. I really didn't. Because there's, what, one good Arcane spell in green, and that's Kodama's Reach? I mean, there may be more, but that's the one that we all kind of gravitate to. I didn't want to do it. I was like, you know what? What can I do that's not Spirits or Arcane that I can do with this particular commander? Well, it's got a very rare word on there. It is a 7 mana 4/4 flyer in mono green. And I went, you know what? Let me turn my volume down because Twitter is actively blowing up. Anyway, that's where I went. I said, you know what? Green flyers, green skies. This is what I'm doing. Now, as it turned out, my stubbornness is not that wonderful here because there's not a lot of green flyers. The very first one that came to my mind was, of course, Scrib Sprites. It's way back in the day. 1 mana, 1/1 flyer. Wow. Oh, and this was common and reprinted like Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Revised, 4th. I think that's it. It may be in 5th, but and then of course Moon Sprite. You begin to see a theme here. Of course, this one's from Starter. It's 2 mana for essentially the same card. Scrib Ranger. It's got Flash, Flying, Pro Blue. You can bounce a forest to untap a creature. What's not to love about this? This was a combo deck way back, or it was in a combo deck way back when. Uktabi Fairy. Sack it to destroy an artifact, and it flies. 2 minutes. Are you noticing fairies? Yeah. This is the back in the days when fairies were green and nobody played them. Willow Fairy from Homelands. Now, just a very similar card, one up on the toughness. Also from Homelands, our very first fairy champion. They were really trying hard not to break things with this card because, trust me, it didn't. And yeah, anyway. Now we get actually out of fairies. One of Uktabi Drake is the 1 mana flyer that you're not going to cast on turn 1. Let's face it, you don't want to, because you want to be able to pay that echo to keep this thing around. So, it's the 1 drop that you actually don't mind drawing late. Otherwise, it's a shock. Let's face it, a sorcery speed shock that can be blocked and can be you know what I mean. Bayou Dragonfly. Flying and Swamp Walk. Hello, double evasion. Emerald Dragonfly. I didn't realize that Emerald Dragonfly was only printed in Legends and Chronicles, and that's it. Now, it's got flying, and you can give it first strike, just in case somebody's coming at you with a ball lightning, I guess. We got Caustic Wasps. This one Three mana, 1/1 flyer is not exactly where you want to be. However, with every creature in our deck having this built-in evasion flying, now destroying an artifact when it hits, that don't seem real bad. Flailing Drake, we'll move along, nothing to see here. Hawk Eater Moth, pretty much the same thing. It's got Shroud, which is kind of going to hurt us. There's a few cards that I really, really want to put in here, but I just don't have. And we'll get to them when we get to those sections. Because Drake, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. The bottom paragraph isn't even there since we're playing mono green. Locust Swarm. What's up? I mean, it's a 4 mana 1/1 flyer. It does regenerate, so I guess that's okay. You can untap it. I don't know. I kind of like the Yavimaya Gnats a little better myself. Yeah, it is a 0 power, but it does just flying regenerate. Venomous Dragonfly. It just kills whatever, it blocks. Yanaro Bees. Now, Yanaro Bees is actually a combination of two cards. Yanaro Bee Sting from like the Portal era and Killer Bees, because it's both cards put together. For a frame of reference, here is Killer Bees. Now, Killer Bees was one of those cards that you didn't want to see in the early days of Magic because, green, that just... And yeah, there was I remember somebody Sword to Plowshare and I just dumping all my mana in it thinking that was an awesome play. It was, for them. Cockatrice. Gotta have a Cockatrice. Giant Dust Wasp. Destructor Dragon. Of course, it pops something. And then our last green flyer, Hornet Queen. Of course, she brings the boys to the yard. She just be flying around making milkshakes. Now, that ain't enough. So I had to dive into artifacts. Well, first artifact I was like, flying artifacts, you gotta have an Ornithopter, right? Brass Gnat. Hovermeer. It's got Vigilance. Pilgrim's Eye is not bad because it also does the basic land thing. So, hey. Sky Scanner. Draws your card when it comes in. Tatterkite. Oh. I gotta tell y'all about this. Bear with me. My play group have this. We've been doing this a couple of months. It's called New Rule. Read about it somewhere, and we all kind of loved it. And so every month, one of us proposes a new rule, whoever's turn it is, and we've been going by like birthday months and stuff. They say, all right, the new rule is this. And we've gone through like mana burn is real. We've gone through the first land you play each game taps for any color. But this month is all creatures have persist for November. And last night was just an epic game. It was a 3-hour game. Of course, there was like 7 of us. And just because of the all creatures had persist. And of course, the buddy to my left, Danny, plays a Salinity, and creatures couldn't die. But anyway, I anticipate playing this deck next week, and Tatterkite can't have counters. I don't know that that's incredibly broken, because let's face it, it's a 3 mana 2/1, but I find it funny. Next, we have Thopter Assembly. This is almost reason enough not to play the Ornithopter so that you can keep the loop and the... and the last flyer is, of course, the Darksteel Gargoyle. Now, it's amazing to me that back in Mirrodin block, of course, this was Darksteel, it was amazing how horrible they got the cost. Some of them were just crazy too cheap, and some of them, like this, were just crazy too high. Whew. Anyway, if you notice, I skipped right over the Steel Hellkite spot. It's because I don't have another one. That would be beautiful. You know, it's ramp. It's everywhere you want it to be. So now, speaking of ramp, let's look at, and we'll start with the namesake card of ramp, rampant growth. So let's get this a little closer. Got the beatdown version. Oh, yeah, beatdown. Took me a second there. Explore, we're going to draw a card and play another land, hopefully. Explore scope. Yeah. Moss Diamond. Nature's Lore. Search for Tomorrow. And Colony Heart Expedition. Now we got some lands and we got some flying creatures. We need to pump up those flying creatures. So the first time, kind of two global things I have is, of course, the Hall of Triumph and the Gaia's Anthem. Beastmaster Ascension would fit in perfect in here. So many things. Beastmaster is the very first one because that your Thopter Assembly kind of almost does the work by itself. We have equipment. Not a lot of equipment. The Loxodon Warhammer, because I feel like we're going to get our face punched in a little bit. That life gain helps a little bit. And, even slapping this on an Ornithopter is a threat. We have Sigil of Distinction. Because if you get mana flooded, why not? Let's do this. And our last equipment is because everybody's got that slight, I don't know, mean streak in them. And I'm sure y'all seen mine more and more. And this is kind of it. By the way, a buddy of mine just wasn't going to tell him, but he's building one of his first EDH decks at the shop, and he asked me about Grafted Exoskeleton on Niv Mizzet, and I was like, yep. Hate that he found it, but it's good that he found it. Anyway, giant growth style effects, of course. Giant growth. Even yet more giant growth. Might of Oaks. And then the green counterspell-ish. So, try to sharpen that up a little bit. Now, the super giant growth, I've always thought is Primal Bellow. Weirdly enough, this has only been printed in Zendikar as uncommon. I have no clue what this Joker's worth. But I'm sure foils are like, kidney prices. But it's really good for mono green. Y'all know I had to play Overrun and Rancor because I love me some Trample. Now, Hunter's Prowess was a pretty late edition. I just did it today as I was, because the deck was already built, and I was like, surely there's got to be some tweaks to make to it, and I took card out and put Hunter's Prowess in because this is its pump and its card draw, and we are way deficient on card draw because most of Green's card draw, all of it deals with creatures of somehow. But most of the creatures that have recurable card draw don't fly, and that was one of the rules I set forth for myself, was all the creatures in the deck have to fly. Because that's one of those things nobody sees coming. Now, Blanchwood Armor, good staple for mono green. And check this out, Stand Together. Now this is from Darksteel. No, it's not from Battle Bond. This would have been perfect for Battle Bond. I mean, there's a freaking dinosaur and an elf in the picture, and they're helping each other, and this would have been an amazing, you ain't even got to change the art. This would have been a great Battle Bond card. Could it not? I mean, it deals with counters, 2. Oh. Now, granted, it's not stellar at 5 mana, but it's an instant. That's what makes it beautiful. Now, Green Flyers is kind of an odd choice because it is an odd deck, and not a lot of, nobody's going to see it coming the first time. But Green's supposed to hate Flyers, and that's what makes it so beautiful. Stormfront is a card I don't think a lot of people give credit to it. They don't know about it or something. It's common or uncommon. It's hard to tell from way back then. They were all cards. You knew what was rare because they were just hard to find. But Stormfront is amazing. First off, that's a Sarah Angel being. It hurts. But for 1 mana and then 2 green colon to tap a target creature with flying. Now, obviously, here we're just going to tap down blockers because everybody else's flyers will be better than ours. Okay? Green puts a premium on flyers, and that premium is like 3 or 4 mana for a 1/1, so we're not exactly winning the races here. But Stormfront helps us do a little air traffic control, as well as does Raking Canopy. Now, attacks you, it takes 4. Now, granted, in our format, in Standard, back when Shadowmoor came out, that was a big thing. Fairies couldn't hit you, but in Commander, let's face it, 4 damage most of the time. Most of the flyers just shrug that off. Demons, dragons, angels, yeah. If they ain't 5/5s, ain't nobody playing them. Now, Bower Passage, besides it sounding like it's straight out of Fable, I swear it does. This is amazing. Well, for this particular deck. Because the only creatures that can block your stuff is flyers. And now, this turn, for 2 mana... Oh, no! Oh, crap! This is an enchantment! I thought this was a sorcery. Wow, it's so much better. So, from now on, until they kill Bower Passage, your creatures just can't be blocked. Nice. Now, I have some really, really bad removal. Now, I like Plummet, and I like Creeping Mold, but I get a lot of flack over people asking me why I play with Desert Twister. It's, for mono green, we're not going to get a Vindicate in mono green. It's just not going to happen. So, 6 mana, though, it still has those 3 words on it, and there's no drawbacks, no limitations besides the 6 mana. And in green, is that really a drawback? Now, of course, I have Naturalized because it seems like a thing I need to have. Repopulate, but mainly because we don't have a whole lot of creatures, and if somebody board wipes, Repopulate can actually bail us out. Get us back in the game. Yeah, it shuffles them into the yard, but by that time you've gotten lands out, you've gotten spells out, you have a higher concentration of creatures in the deck, so a more increased chance to draw them, of course. Why there are ferrets on this art, I have no idea. It's neat looking, though. Hunter's Ambush. Whoa, is this not the fog of all fogs for green? Yeah, so my creatures are still going to do damage, but yours won't. Speaking of fog, and then of course we got Restock. Gaia's Blessing, because like I said, milling happens. It does. Sometimes it is... A lot of times mill is people's backup plan. Well, if I can't do this, then I'll just mill them out. Well... And y'all know I run Natural Affinity because, yeah, you remember that mean streak I was talking about. This is the card I save in my hand for if somebody does want to Wrath of God to whatever, kill all the creatures. Odds are we've got Natural Affinity in our hand, and we've had it for some time, and we're sandbagging a few lands. It's an instant speed, and I will do it. I will do it in a heartbeat. If somebody's going to cast Day of Judgment and I'm on the disadvantage side of it and I've got a few lands in hand, yeah, I'm casting Natural Affinity and they're going to blow up all the lands in the game too. And that's going to set everybody back. But, like I said, if you've got it in hand, you've been sandbagging lands, so yeah. It's a really douchebag move. But, sometimes that's what it takes. Of course, we got our Cycle land. Lenoir Reborn, because, graft. Anything to help out our flyer. Mosswort Bridge. I really, really almost cut this for a forest because you got to have power 10. And, yeah, we got a couple anthems, and I don't know. Seemed like this may not be the deck for Marsword Bridge. It may be a basic forest for Blanchwood would be a little better. Our last non-land card, of course, y'all saw this one coming, Rogue's Passage. Like I said, it's unusual. It's not your typical, Saviors of Kamigawa deck. Green Travel Flyers. It's a weird thing. But as I said before, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. And one more thing about what I'm thinking is, once again, support your friendly local game store. That's, I can't tell you how many friends and lifelong memories that I've made at various friendly local game stores. So I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. And hey, sure, I'm going to call it. We're halfway. Steady as she goes.